I'm standing in the waiting area of Tech Care Solutions on Madison Avenue, watching Derek Hoffman walk toward me with an expression that makes my stomach drop. He's the technician who's been working on Celeste's phone for the past 40 minutes, and something about the way he's moving, quickly, purposefully, but with his shoulders tight, tells me this isn't about a cracked screen or battery issue. "Mrs. Ashford?" His voice is low, almost a whisper. He glances around the shop before gesturing toward a small room in the back. "Could you come with me for a moment, please?" My heart starts beating faster. I follow him through a narrow hallway, past shelves stacked with phone parts and repair tools, into what looks like a break room with a single desk and 2 chairs. He closes the door behind us, and that's when I see his hands are shaking slightly. "Ma'am, I need you to do something right now before we discuss anything else." He looks me straight in the eyes, and I can see genuine concern there, maybe even fear. "Block your credit cards. Change every password you have, banking, email, everything. And then you need to leave immediately." The room feels smaller suddenly, like the walls are pressing in. "I'm sorry, what? I don't understand. Derek, what are you talking about?" He places Celeste's iPhone on the desk between us, the screen still lit up. "I was running diagnostics on your daughter-in-law's phone like you requested. The screen kept freezing, so I had to access the system files to see what was causing the malfunction." He takes a breath. "Mrs. Ashford, I found things that... I need to show you this, but I want you to prepare yourself." "Prepare myself?" My voice comes out higher than I intended. "Derek, you're scaring me. Just tell me what's going on." He turns the phone toward me, and the first thing I see is my own name. Not on a text message or a contact list. It's at the top of a banking app, Chase Bank, my Chase Bank account, the one I've had for 32 years. My throat goes dry. "Why would Celeste have access to my bank account?" I whisper. But even as I ask, part of me already knows the answer isn't going to be something innocent. Derek swipes to another screen. It's a messaging app I don't recognize, something with a dark interface and encrypted labels. The conversation thread is open, and I see Celeste's profile picture at the top. That photo Marcus took of her at Martha's Vineyard last summer, the one where she's wearing my sapphire earrings that I lent her and she never returned. I start reading the messages, and each word feels like a punch. Celeste. "Transfer went through. $3,200 this time. She hasn't noticed." V. "Good. We discussed keeping it under $5,000 per transaction. Smart." Celeste. "How much total now?" V. "You're at $47,000 from her primary accounts. Credit cards opened in her name are at $185,000 combined limit. We've used $31,000 so far." My hand goes to my mouth. I can't breathe properly. Derek is talking, saying something, but his voice sounds distant, like I'm underwater. "Mrs. Ashford, there's more. I'm sorry, but you need to see all of it." He scrolls further up in the conversation. The messages are from 3 weeks ago, dated November 8th. That was the week Celeste and I had that terrible argument about boundaries, about how I needed to call before coming to their apartment. She'd been so cold, so calculated in the way she spoke to me. "Vivian, you need to respect our space. This isn't healthy." And Marcus had stood there, torn between us, ultimately choosing silence. Celeste. "The old bitch is getting suspicious. She mentioned updating her will." V. "Timeline moves up then. We need to drain what we can in the next 3 to 4 months max." Celeste. "I'm working on it. Got her social security number last month when I photographed her documents. She keeps everything in that stupid desk drawer. Doesn't even lock it." V. "You're inside the house often enough?" Celeste. "Not anymore. She's been weird lately, keeping distance. But I got what I needed. Photos of her driver's license, passport, even her investment account statements. Marcus leaves paperwork everywhere. My hands are trembling so badly, I can barely hold the phone when Derek hands it to me. "Keep reading," he says quietly. "I know it's hard, but you need to see what you're dealing with." The next message is an image attachment. I click on it, and it's a photograph of my desk drawer, the one in my home office in Greenwich. The photo is recent. I can see the corner of the thank you card my neighbor Helen gave me 2 weeks ago for helping with her charity event. In the photo, my passport is clearly visible, open to the identification page. My social security card is next to it, and there, tucked beneath, are the account statements from Merrill Lynch showing the portfolio Richard and I built over 33 years of marriage. She was in my house, I hear myself say. She came to my house and went through my private things. Mrs. Ashford, I need to show you one more thing. Derek's voice cracks slightly. This is why I told you to block everything immediately. He opens another app. This one looks like a planning document or notes file. The title at the top makes my blood run cold. Vivian, Timeline and Strategy. I read through it, and each line is more horrifying than the last. Phase 1, complete. Gain trust. Establish relationship with Monsieur marry into family. Assess financial situation. Estimated family worth, 8.2n. Phase 2, in progress. Collect personal information. Access accounts. Begin small transfers to test detection threshold. Create distance between V and M to reduce exposure risk. Current extracted, 47K liquid, 31K credit. Phase 3, next 4 months. Maximize extraction before V updates will or become suspicious. Target, 500K total. Plant seeds of V's mental decline with M. Prepare exit strategy. Phase 4, if necessary. If V discovers activity, discredit her to M. Use planted evidence of confusion and memory problems. V's age works in our favor. M will believe mother is experiencing cognitive decline rather than daughter-in-law's theft. I have to set the phone down because I'm afraid I'm going to drop it. My entire body feels numb, like I've been injected with Novocaine. This woman, this person my son married, who I welcomed into my family, who sat at my dining table and told me stories about her difficult childhood, who I comforted when she cried about feeling lonely in a new city, has been systematically planning to rob me, to destroy me. Who is V? I managed to ask. Derek pulls up another section of the messages. Vincent Markham, I did a quick search while you were reading. He has a criminal record, 2 years in prison for electronic fraud, released on probation 18 months ago. He's violating that probation by participating in this scheme. How did you... I can't even form complete thoughts. How did you know to look for this? Derek sits down in the other chair, and I see something raw in his face. My sister Claire. 2 years ago, she went through something almost identical. Her daughter-in-law seemed perfect, loving family member. Turned out she was running the same kind of operation. By the time Claire discovered it, she'd lost $230,000. Claire almost... He stops, swallows hard. She almost didn't survive the shame of it, Mrs. Ashford. The humiliation, feeling foolish for trusting family. It nearly destroyed her. I'm so sorry, I whisper automatically, even though I'm the one sitting here discovering my life has been infiltrated and violated. When I saw the name Ashford on the work order and started the diagnostic, something felt familiar. The way the apps were hidden, the encrypted messaging, the banking apps that shouldn't be there. It was the exact same pattern. He leans forward. Mrs. Ashford, these people don't stop. They escalate. I saw messages in there about your life insurance policy, about making you seem mentally incompetent to your son. This isn't just theft. This is a complete destruction plan. I think about Marcus, my beautiful boy, my only child, the son Richard and I raised to be kind and trusting and good. The son who's been so happy these past 3 years, finally settled after his father's death, nearly broke him. How do I tell him that his wife, the woman he loves, is a criminal, that their entire marriage has been a calculated fraud? I need to call him, I say, reaching for my purse to get my phone. No. Derek's voice is firm. Not yet. You need to secure everything first. Right now, she doesn't know you've discovered this. That's your advantage. If you call Marcus emotionally, she might be with him. She'll know immediately, and she could drain accounts, destroy evidence, disappear. You need to be strategic. He's right. I hate that he's right, but he is. I take a shaky breath and try to think clearly. Try to be the woman who built a multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical consulting business, who negotiated contracts with Fortune 500 companies, who didn't get to where I am by falling apart in a crisis. What do I do? My voice sounds stronger now, more controlled. First, we document everything. I'm going to make copies of all these messages, screenshots of the accounts, everything on this phone that shows what she's done. You'll need this evidence. He's already connecting the phone to his computer. While I do that, call your bank. Tell them you've discovered fraudulent activity. Block all your cards. Then change every password, email, banking, investment accounts, everything. Use a password manager if you don't already. Make them all different. Make them complex. I pull out my own phone with hands that are steadier than I thought they'd be. The first call is to Chase Bank. I explain there's been fraud on my account. They put me through to their security department, and I spend 15 minutes answering questions, verifying my identity, reviewing transactions I didn't authorize. Mrs. Ashford, I'm seeing several concerning transfers here, the security specialist says. Small amounts, spread over the past 7 months. They're going to an account at TD Bank under your name, but you're saying you never opened that account? I never opened any account at TD Bank, I confirm, and hearing myself say it out loud makes it more real, more horrible. We'll initiate a fraud investigation immediately. I'm blocking all your current cards and issuing new ones. They'll arrive in 3 to 5 business days. We'll also place alerts on your credit report. Derek hands me a USB drive while I'm still on the phone. Everything's here. Messages, photos, account information, all of it. This is your evidence. Keep it somewhere safe, not your house if she has a key. Maybe a safety deposit box? I nod, tucking the drive into my purse. My call to Chase ends, and I immediately dial Merrill Lynch, then American Express, then my credit union. Each conversation is the same. Yes, there's been unauthorized activity. Yes, I need to block access. Yes, I need new account numbers. By the time I'm finished, 45 minutes have passed. Derek has printed out screenshots of everything. Dozens of pages documenting Celeste's betrayal in black and white. What about her phone? I ask. She's going to want it back. She's going to wonder why I'm taking so long. Derek picks up a different iPhone from his desk, looks identical to Celeste's. This is the same model. I'm going to call you in about an hour and tell you the phone couldn't be repaired, that the logic board was fried, but I managed to transfer everything to this replacement device. It'll have all her contacts, her photos, everything that would normally be there, but none of the apps with evidence. She won't realize anything's wrong until it's too late. You've done this before, I say, not really a question. I should have been faster with my sister. I won't make that mistake again. He meets my eyes. Mrs. Ashford, you need to decide how you want to handle this. You could go to the police right now with this evidence. You could confront her. You could tell your son. But whatever you do it before she realizes you know. Surprised criminals make mistakes. Warned criminals disappear. I stand up, and I feel different than I did when I walked in here an hour ago. Then I was a mother trying to make peace with her daughter-in-law, someone desperate enough to run errands for a woman who's been cold to me for weeks. Now I'm someone who knows the truth, someone who has evidence, someone who needs to protect her son, her assets, and herself. Thank you, Derek. I mean that. You didn't have to do any of this. Yes, I did. His voice is quiet but certain. Nobody helped my sister in time. I can help you. I leave Tech Care Solutions and walk 3 blocks before I trust myself to think clearly. The Manhattan streets are busy with afternoon traffic, people rushing past with their own problems, their own lives. None of them know that mine just exploded. I think about Marcus at work right now, probably in some meeting about corporate mergers or contract disputes, completely unaware that his wife has been plotting to rob his mother. I think about Celeste, wherever she is, probably feeling smug about how well her plan is working. I think about Richard, gone 4 years now, and how grateful I am that he's not here to see this betrayal. But mostly, I think about what I'm going to do next. Because Derek is right about one thing. I have the advantage of surprise. Celeste doesn't know I've discovered her scheme. She thinks she's still in control, still pulling the strings. She's wrong. And by the time I'm finished, she's going to learn exactly what happens when you underestimate a woman who built an empire from nothing, who survived her husband's death without falling apart, who protected her family for 57 years. I pull out my phone and dial a number I haven't called in months. Lawrence Pemberton's office, the receptionist answers. This is Vivian Ashford. I need to speak with Lawrence immediately. Tell him it's an emergency regarding family fraud, and I have evidence that requires immediate legal action. One moment, Mrs. Ashford. The wait is less than 30 seconds before my attorney's familiar voice comes on the line. Vivian? What's happened? Lawrence, I need you to clear your afternoon. I'm coming to your office right now, and I'm bringing evidence of a fraud scheme involving my daughter-in-law and approximately $200,000 of my assets. I need criminal attorneys, I need investigators, and I need strategy on how to handle this before my son's world falls apart. There's a pause. Then his voice turns sharp and professional. I'll have everyone here within the hour. Come straight up when you arrive. And Vivian, don't contact anyone else until we've reviewed everything. Understood. I hang up and hail a cab. As I slide into the back seat and give the driver Lawrence's address in Midtown, I catch my reflection in the window. My hair is still perfectly styled, my makeup hasn't smudged despite the tears I felt earlier, but somehow never shed. I look exactly like I did this morning when I left my house in Greenwich, thinking I was just doing a favor for my daughter-in-law. But I'm not the same person. That woman was operating on hope and denial. This woman knows the truth, and this woman is going to fight back. The taxi drops me at Lawrence's building on East 52nd Street, and as I ride the elevator to the 14th floor, my mind drifts back to 4 years ago. 4 years, 2 months, and 16 days to be exact. The day Richard died. We'd known it was coming. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer doesn't leave much room for miracles. But knowing something intellectually and experiencing it emotionally are two entirely different things. I held his hand in that hospital room at Mount Sinai while machines beeped and nurses came and went with their practiced sympathy, and I watched my husband of 33 years take his last breath at 6:47 in the morning. Marcus fell apart. My strong, capable son who graduated top of his class at Columbia Law, who argued cases in front of intimidating judges without flinching, he became a shell of himself. He stopped going to work for 3 weeks, stopped answering his phone. I'd find him at Richard's grave in Greenwich Cemetery at odd hours, just sitting there in the grass, sometimes in the rain. "Mom, I don't know how to do this," he told me one night, maybe 6 weeks after the funeral. We were sitting in my kitchen, the same kitchen where Richard used to make his terrible scrambled eggs every Sunday morning. He was my person, the one I called when I didn't know what to do. How am I supposed to make decisions without him? "You call me," I said, taking his hand across the table. "I'm still here. We're still here." And that's how it started, I suppose. The codependency that Celeste would later weaponize. Marcus needed me, and I needed to be needed. We became too close, maybe. He'd come to my house 3-4 times a week. We'd have dinner, watch old movies, talk about Richard. I helped him review contracts for work. He helped me sort through Richard's things when I finally felt ready. I should have seen that Marcus was using me as a crutch. Or maybe I should have seen that I was using him the same way. Two people drowning, clinging to each other instead of learning to swim. Then, about 18 months after Richard's death, Marcus called me on a Tuesday evening. His voice sounded different, lighter, almost nervous. "Mom, I met someone. Her name is Celeste. I think you'd really like her." My first reaction, I'm ashamed to admit, was jealousy. Not the romantic kind, but the territorial kind. Someone else was going to take my son's attention, his time, his heart. But I swallowed that ugliness down and said what a good mother should say. That's wonderful, sweetheart. Tell me about her. She's 26, works as a freelance graphic designer, really talented. She's from New Jersey originally, moved to the city about 2 years ago. We met at that networking thing my firm hosted last month. Remember I told you about it? She was doing the branding work for one of the speakers. 26, 11 years younger than Marcus. But I bit my tongue on that observation. When do I get to meet her? That's actually why I'm calling. Would it be okay if I brought her to dinner this Saturday? I know it's short notice, but she's really excited to meet you. I told her about you and Dad, about the business you built. She said she admires women entrepreneurs. Saturday came, and I spent the entire day preparing. I made Richard's favorite pot roast, even though he wasn't there to eat it. I wore the navy dress he always said brought out my eyes. I set the dining table with our good china, the Wedgwood we'd bought on our 20th anniversary trip to London. Celeste arrived in a simple black dress and pearl earrings that looked vintage. Her hair was styled in soft waves, her makeup natural and understated. She looked appropriate, like someone who'd studied what a young woman should wear to meet her boyfriend's wealthy mother. Mrs. Ashford, it's such an honor to meet you. She shook my hand with just the right amount of firmness. Marcus has told me so much about you and your late husband. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you, dear. And please call me Vivienne. The dinner went smoothly. Too smoothly, I realize now. Celeste asked all the right questions about my pharmaceutical consulting business, made all the right noises of admiration when I mentioned selling the company. She talked about her own work with modest enthusiasm, mentioned her difficult childhood in a way that invited sympathy but didn't demand it. My dad left when I was 7, she said, dabbing her mouth with her napkin. Mom worked 3 jobs to keep us afloat. I learned early that if I wanted anything in life, I'd have to work for it myself. That's why I admire what you've accomplished, Vivienne. Building something from nothing in the 90s when the business world was even more hostile to women than it is now, that takes incredible strength. I felt something then, a small warning bell, barely audible. But Marcus was looking at Celeste with such open adoration, such happiness, that I ignored it. After everything he'd been through, didn't he deserve to be happy? They dated for about a year before Marcus proposed. He consulted me about the ring, about the proposal plan, about everything. I encouraged him, supported him, told him I thought Celeste seemed lovely, and I almost believed it. The wedding was small, elegant. Celeste wore a simple gown from a boutique in Soho, nothing ostentatious. Her mother attended, a tired-looking woman in her early 50s who worked as a nurse in Newark. Celeste's father didn't show up, which wasn't a surprise. On my side, there were relatives, friends, business associates. Marcus looked happier than I'd seen him since his father died. I gave them $320,000 for the down payment on their apartment in the Upper East Side. Marcus protested, but not very hard. Mom, you've already done so much. We can wait, save up. Nonsense. Your father and I always intended to help you buy your first home. Just because he's not here doesn't mean that plan changes. Celeste hugged me at the closing, tears in her eyes. Thank you, Vivienne. You've been so generous to us. I promise I'll take good care of Marcus. And I hope we can have the kind of relationship where I'm not just your daughter-in-law, but your daughter. Those words should have warmed my heart. Instead, they left me cold. But I smiled and hugged her back and told myself I was being paranoid. The first year of their marriage was relatively peaceful. We had dinner once a week, alternating between my house and their apartment. Celeste was always polite, always gracious. She asked my opinion on decorating choices, sent me thank you notes for birthday gifts, called me just to chat occasionally. But small things started to bother me. The way she'd steer conversations away whenever I asked specific questions about her design work. The fact that I never actually saw any of her portfolio, despite asking several times. The way her eyes would go flat and calculating when Marcus mentioned anything about my finances or investments, only to brighten again when she thought someone was watching. About 6 months ago, things shifted. I stopped by their apartment unannounced one Tuesday afternoon. I was in the neighborhood, had picked up some pastries from that bakery Marcus loves. I used the key they'd given me for emergencies. Celeste was home, which surprised me. She came out of the bedroom looking flustered, hair messed up, face flushed. "Vivienne, I wasn't expecting you." "I'm sorry, I should have called. I brought some of those almond croissants Marcus likes." That's very thoughtful. But next time, please call first. This is our home, not yours." The words were sharp, sharper than the situation warranted. I apologized, left the pastries, and got out of there quickly. When I mentioned it to Marcus later, he was uncomfortable. "Mom, Celeste has a point. We're married now. We need our privacy." "I understand that. I just thought, I know what you thought, and I appreciate it. But maybe we need to establish some boundaries, healthy boundaries." Boundaries. That word became Celeste's favorite over the next few months. She suggested that our weekly dinners were too much, that Marcus needed space to grow as a husband. She convinced him to stop reviewing work documents with me, saying it made her feel left out of his professional life. She started therapy and came back with all these terms: enmeshment, codependency, maternal attachment issues. I felt myself being pushed out, inch by inch. And Marcus, my sweet boy who'd clung to me after his father died, was letting it happen. Part of him seemed relieved, actually, to have someone give him permission to pull away. 3 weeks ago, we had the big fight. I'd invited them to dinner on a Saturday, and Celeste called that morning to cancel. "Vivienne, I'm sorry, but we need to start limiting our visits. Every week is too much. Marcus and I need time to build our own traditions, our own life." "I understand wanting independence, Celeste, but Marcus is my only child. Surely we can find a balance." "This isn't about balance. This is about you accepting that Marcus has a wife now. I come first. His marriage comes first, not his mother." Something in me snapped. "I've been nothing but welcoming to you. I helped you buy your home. I've tried to include you in our family traditions. And now you're telling me I can't see my own son? I'm telling you that you need to respect our marriage. And if you can't do that, maybe we need more distance than just weekly dinners." We went back and forth, voices rising. I said things I regret now, about how she was isolating Marcus, about how something felt wrong. She accused me of being a controlling mother-in-law who couldn't let go. Marcus walked in during the worst of it, and Celeste immediately switched tactics, tears, trembling voice, the whole performance. "Marcus, I'm trying so hard to have a good relationship with your mother, but she won't respect our boundaries. She thinks I'm stealing you from her." I watched my son choose his wife over his mother. As he should, I suppose. That's what healthy marriages require. But it hurt more than I expected. "Mom, I think you should go. Celeste and I need to talk." I left feeling like I'd lost something irretrievable, and for the next week, I tortured myself with doubt. Was Celeste right? Was I too controlling? Too involved? Was I the problem? Then, a week after the fight, Celeste's phone screen cracked. She mentioned it during one of Marcus's brief phone check-ins with me. I saw an opportunity for a peace offering. "I'll take it to get fixed for you," I offered. "I know a great place in Manhattan. Consider it an apology for our argument." There was a pause. Then Celeste's voice came on the line. She must have been listening. "That's very kind, Vivienne. I accept." Her phone was delivered to my house the next day, and I made an appointment at Tech Care Solutions for this afternoon. Now I know why she agreed so readily. She never thought I'd discover anything. She thought her encryption was enough, her apps were hidden enough, her plan was solid enough. She underestimated me. That was her first mistake. It won't be her last. The elevator doors open on the 14th floor, and Lawrence's receptionist is already waiting for me. "Mrs. Ashford, please come with me. Everyone's assembled in the conference room." I follow her down the hallway, my heels clicking on the marble floor, my head high. I'm not the grieving widow anymore, or the desperate mother trying to hold on to her son. I'm Vivienne Ashford. I built a multi-million-dollar business in an industry that tried to crush me. I survived my husband's death without falling apart, and I will survive this betrayal too. But more than survive, I'll make sure justice is served. Because Celeste made one critical error in her calculations. She thought I was weak because I was lonely. She thought I was vulnerable because I was older. She forgot that women like me don't get where we are by being easy targets. And she's about to learn that lesson the hard way. Lawrence's conference room overlooks Midtown Manhattan, all glass and steel and power. 3 people are waiting when I enter. Lawrence himself, a woman in her early 40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense suit, and a younger man with a laptop open in front of him. Vivian. Lawrence stands and takes my hand. He's been my attorney since I started the pharmaceutical consulting business back in 1992. He handled the sale in 2018, drafted Richard's will, and has seen me through some of the worst moments of my life. This is Catherine Morrison, criminal defense attorney, and James Chen, private investigator. They've both signed NDAs. You can speak freely. I sit down and place the USB drive Derek gave me on the polished table. Everything you need is on here. Bank fraud, identity theft, conspiracy. My daughter-in-law has stolen approximately $200,000 from me over the past 7 months, and she's planning to steal more. Catherine leans forward. Walk me through how you discovered this. I tell them everything. The phone repair, Derek's warning, the messages, the planning documents. James plugs the USB drive into his laptop and starts pulling up files. His face remains professionally neutral, but I see his jaw tighten when he gets to the section about making me appear mentally incompetent. Mrs. Ashford, I need to be direct with you, Catherine says when I finish. This is serious criminal activity. We're looking at multiple felonies, wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit fraud. But prosecuting family members is complicated. Your son is married to this woman. Are you prepared for what that means? I'm prepared to protect myself and my assets. What happens to their marriage is Marcus's decision. It won't feel that way to him. Her voice is gentle but firm. When we move forward with criminal charges, your son will feel like you're attacking his wife. Even with evidence this clear, family loyalty can make people irrational. He may choose to stand by her. The thought makes my chest hurt, but I keep my voice steady. Then that's his choice. But I won't be stolen from in silence just to keep peace in a family that's already broken. Lawrence nods approvingly. That's the right attitude. James, what do you need from us to build the case? James looks up from the laptop. I need access to Mrs. Ashford's financial records, all of them. Bank statements, credit reports, investment accounts. I need to trace every fraudulent transaction and document the timeline. I also need to investigate Celeste Duval Ashford's background thoroughly. If she's done this before, we need to find the victims. She has. I pull out my phone and find the notes I made while sitting in Derek's office. The technician who discovered this, his sister was victimized by a similar scheme 2 years ago. Different person, but same pattern. And he mentioned that Celeste might have a history. Do you have contact information for this technician? Derek Hoffman, Tech Care Solutions on Madison. I give him the address. He made copies of everything, printed screenshots. He'll cooperate. James types rapidly. I'll start with a comprehensive background check on Celeste Duval. Previous addresses, employment history, past relationships. If there's a pattern, I'll find it. I'll also run a check on this Vincent Markham character. You said he has a criminal record? 2 years for electronic fraud. He's on probation. Even better. Probation violation gives law enforcement additional leverage. James makes more notes. Mrs. Ashford, I need your permission to access your credit report and monitor your accounts going forward. I'll need you to sign some authorizations. Whatever you need. Catherine opens her briefcase and pulls out a legal pad. Here's how I see this proceeding. First, we document everything and build an airtight case. That takes approximately 1 week. During that time, Mrs. Ashford, you need to act completely normal. Don't let Celeste know you suspect anything. I gave her phone back this afternoon. Well, a replacement phone. Derek kept the original as evidence and transferred her data to a clean device. Smart. She'll notice the evidence apps are missing, though. Derek said he made it look like they got corrupted during the transfer. It happens sometimes with damaged logic boards. Catherine nods. Okay, that buys us time. Once we have the complete file built, we present everything to the district attorney's office. Given the amount involved and the interstate component, if she used mail or wire transfers, which it sounds like she did, we can potentially involve federal prosecutors. How long does prosecution take? I ask. Months, possibly over a year if she fights the charges. But with evidence this strong, most defendants accept a plea bargain. She'll do prison time, Mrs. Ashford. I want you to understand that. Your daughter-in-law will go to jail. Good. The word comes out harder than I intended. She deserves to go to jail. Lawrence shifts in his chair. Vivian, we also need to discuss the civil side. Criminal prosecution is about justice and punishment. But you're also entitled to restitution. We should file a civil suit simultaneously to recover the stolen funds. Will I get it back? All of it? Some of it likely, not all. People who commit this kind of fraud typically spend the money as quickly as they steal it. But we can attach any assets she has, bank accounts, property, future earnings. Catherine adds, the criminal prosecution will also order restitution as part of sentencing. It gives you multiple avenues for recovery. We spend the next hour going through details. I sign authorization forms, write down account numbers, provide passwords. James asks question after question about Celeste, where she worked before the marriage, who her friends are, any suspicious behavior I'd noticed. Catherine explains the legal process, what to expect, how to prepare. Mrs. Ashford, one more thing. Catherine closes her pad and looks at me directly. When do you plan to tell your son? The question I've been avoiding. I don't know. You need to tell him before he hears it from someone else, before Celeste spins her own version. And you need to do it in a way that gives him space to process without making a decision in the moment. How do I tell my son his wife is a criminal? Carefully, with evidence, with compassion for what he's about to lose. She pauses. Would you like me to be there? Sometimes having a neutral third party helps keep things from becoming too emotional. I consider this. No, this needs to be between Marcus and me. But thank you. Lawrence walks me out after the meeting ends. You're doing the right thing, Vivian. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but protecting yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. Richard would know what to say to Marcus. He always knew how to reach him. Richard isn't here, but you are, and you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. He squeezes my shoulder. Go home. Get some rest. We'll start work first thing tomorrow morning. The drive back to Greenwich takes 45 minutes in evening traffic. My house feels enormous and empty when I walk inside, the way it has ever since Richard died. I pour myself a glass of wine, a Bordeaux Richard bought at auction 3 years before his diagnosis, and sit in his favorite chair in the study. My phone rings. Marcus. Mom, everything okay? You haven't called me back today. I'd forgotten he left me a voicemail this morning about some case he's working on. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just busy. How are you? Good. Tired. Celeste got her phone back, by the way. She said you took care of it. That was really nice of you, especially after... He trails off, not wanting to mention the fight. Of course. How is she? She's good. Actually, she wanted me to ask you something. We were thinking maybe we could do dinner this weekend? Start fresh? My stomach twists. Celeste is trying to keep me close, trying to maintain the illusion that everything's normal. That sounds lovely. Saturday? Perfect. 6 o'clock, our place. I'll be there. We talk for a few more minutes about nothing important. His voice sounds lighter than it has in weeks. He has no idea his world is about to implode. After we hang up, I sit in the silence of Richard's study and let myself cry. Not for the money. Money can be recovered. but for Marcus, who's about to learn that the woman he loves is a lie. For the trust he'll lose, not just in Celeste, but in his own judgment. For the innocence that's about to be shattered. I cry until there's nothing left, and then I go upstairs and wash my face. Tomorrow, James will start his investigation. Catherine will begin building the prosecution case. Lawrence will file preliminary paperwork, and I will pretend everything is fine until the trap is ready to spring. The next 3 days pass in a strange blur of normalcy and secret activity. I meet with James twice more, providing additional documentation. He discovers that Celeste's employment history is fabricated. There's no record of her working as a freelance graphic designer, no portfolio, no tax returns showing that income. She's been living off the money she stole from me, and whatever Marcus gives her. James also finds 2 previous relationships, both with older men who had money. One of them, Gregory Whitmore, is willing to talk. I dated Celeste about 4 years ago, Gregory tells me over the phone. James set up the call. Met her at a gallery opening in Chelsea. She seemed cultured, interesting. We dated for about 8 months. What happened? Money started disappearing, small amounts at first, then larger. She had access to my apartment, knew where I kept things. When I confronted her, she cried, said she'd been desperate, promised to pay it back. He sighs. I loved her, or I thought I did. I gave her another chance. That's when she really cleaned me out. $94,000 in 3 months. By the time I realized the extent of it, she was gone. Did you press charges? I wanted to. My lawyer advised against it, said it would be hard to prove without clear evidence, that she'd claim it was gifts, that family court cases drag on forever. I just wanted her out of my life, so I let it go. I'm not letting it go, I tell him. Good. She deserves to face consequences. And Mr. Chen told me there's someone else involved this time? A man? Vincent Markham. He has a criminal record. I hope you nail them both. There's satisfaction in his voice. If you need me to testify or provide documentation, I will. What she did to me, what she's doing to you, it's evil. After that call, I feel more certain. This isn't just about me. Celeste is a predator, and if I don't stop her, she'll do this to someone else. On Thursday morning, Catherine calls with news. I presented the preliminary case to the DA's office. They're very interested. With Markham's involvement and his probation status, they're considering federal charges. That means FBI involvement, Mrs. Ashford. This is getting serious very quickly. How quickly? They want to move on this within 2 weeks. They're concerned about evidence destruction if Celeste becomes suspicious. They want to execute search warrants on her apartment, her phone, her computer, all simultaneously. That means Marcus will find out. They're going to raid his home. Yes, which is why you need to tell him first, before the FBI shows up at his door. I know she's right, but the thought of that conversation makes me feel sick. Saturday comes too quickly. I dress carefully, nothing too formal, nothing that suggests this is anything other than a reconciliation dinner. I bring wine and dessert from Marcus's favorite bakery. I knock on their apartment door at exactly 6 o'clock. Celeste answers, smiling. Vivienne, come in, come in. She's wearing a cream-colored sweater and dark jeans, her hair loose around her shoulders. She looks like the picture of innocence. She hugs me, and I have to fight the urge to pull away. Thank you again for fixing my phone. That was so thoughtful. Of course, dear. Happy to help. Marcus is in the kitchen cooking. He comes out and hugs me, and I hold on maybe a second too long. Mom, you okay? Perfect. Just happy to see you. Dinner is pasta carbonara, one of Richard's favorite dishes. Marcus makes it well. I taught him myself. We sit at their dining table, the one I helped them pick out at that furniture store in Soho, and we make small talk. Celeste is charming, asking about my week, telling funny stories about a supposed client meeting. Every word out of her mouth is a performance. I watch Marcus watch her, see the love in his eyes, and I want to scream. After dessert, Celeste excuses herself to take a phone call. "Work emergency," she says apologetically. "Give me 10 minutes." She disappears into the bedroom, and Marcus and I are alone. "She's trying really hard, Mom," he says quietly. "I know things have been tense, but she wants to make this work with you. We both do. This is my opening. I should tell him now. But looking at his hopeful face, I can't. Not yet. Not here in his home with her in the next room. This conversation needs space, needs time, needs to happen somewhere she can't control." "I appreciate that, sweetheart." "I want that too." Celeste comes back, and we finish the evening pleasantly. I leave at 9, hugging them both goodbye. As I drive home, my hands shake on the steering wheel. I'm running out of time. The FBI is moving forward. Catherine is building the case. James is documenting everything. And I still haven't told my son that his life is about to explode. That night, I barely sleep. I keep seeing Marcus's face, imagining how it will look when I tell him the truth. By morning, I've made my decision. Sunday afternoon, I call him. "Marcus, can you come to the house, alone? I need to talk to you about something important." "Is everything okay? Are you sick?" "I'm not sick, but this is serious, and I need you to hear it from me before anyone else. Can you come today?" There's a pause. "You're scaring me, Mom." "I know. I'm sorry. But please come. 2 o'clock? Okay, I'll be there." I spend the morning preparing. I print out copies of the key evidence James compiled, bank statements showing the fraudulent transfers, screenshots of the messages, the planning document, everything. I organize it into a folder. I set up the living room with 2 chairs facing each other, not the formal couch where we usually sit. This conversation needs to be direct, intimate, unsparing. At exactly 2 o'clock, Marcus's car pulls into the driveway. I watch him walk to the door, and my heart breaks for what I'm about to do to him. He comes inside, and I can see the worry in his face. "Mom, what's going on? Sit down, sweetheart. Please." We sit. I hold the folder in my lap, and I begin. 3 days ago, I took Celeste's phone to be repaired. The technician found something while running diagnostics. Something I need you to see. I hand him the folder. "Marcus, I need you to look through this before you say anything. Look at everything. And then we'll talk." He opens the folder, and I watch his face as he reads. Confusion first, then disbelief, then horror. He goes through page after page, and his breathing gets faster. His hands start trembling. "This can't be real," he whispers. "It's real. I've had investigators verify everything. The messages are authentic. The transfers are documented by the banks. The planning document was on her phone. No, there has to be an explanation. Maybe she was hacked. Maybe, Marcus." I keep my voice gentle but firm. "I know this is devastating, but you need to accept what you're seeing. Celeste has stolen nearly $200,000 from me. She's been planning this since before she married you. And she has a partner, a man named Vincent Markham with a criminal record who's been helping her." He stands up abruptly, dropping the papers. "You're lying. You never liked her. This is you trying to break us up because you can't stand that I have my own life." The accusation hurts, but I expected it. I have investigators and attorneys who will testify to everything in that folder. The FBI is preparing to file charges. They'll be executing search warrants within 2 weeks. I'm telling you now because I wanted you to hear the truth from me first. "The FBI?" He looks like he's going to be sick. "Mom, what did you do?" I protected myself from someone who was robbing me. What else should I have done? Let her continue? Pretend I didn't know? Marcus is pacing now, running his hands through his hair. "There's a mistake. There has to be. Celeste wouldn't. We're married. She loves me. She married you to access our family's money. Look at the timeline document, Marcus. Phase 1. Marry into family. Assess financial situation. This was calculated. All of it. He spins around, and there are tears on his face. If this is true, and I'm not saying it is, but if it's true, why didn't you come to me first? Why did you go to lawyers and investigators instead of talking to your own son? Because I needed to protect my assets before she could drain more. Because I needed evidence before making accusations. And because I knew this conversation would be exactly as difficult as it is right now. I stand and move toward him. Marcus, I am so sorry. I know you love her. I know this feels like your world is ending, but you need to see the truth. He backs away from me. I need to talk to her. I need to hear her side. If you confront her now, before the authorities move, she'll destroy evidence. She'll disappear. She'll take whatever she can and run. I don't care. His voice cracks. She's my wife. I can't just believe this without giving her a chance to explain. Then wait. Wait until the FBI comes with their warrants. Let them do their investigation. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize to both of you and accept whatever consequences come. But Marcus, I'm not wrong, and deep down, you know it. He stares at me for a long moment, and I see the exact instant when the denial breaks. When he remembers something, some small inconsistency he noticed, but dismissed, some lie that suddenly makes sense. His face crumples. Oh my God, he breathes. Oh my God, it's true, isn't it? I can't speak. I just nod. Marcus sinks back into the chair and puts his face in his hands. I'm such an idiot. Such a goddamn idiot. I kneel in front of him, taking his hands. You're not an idiot. You're someone who loved and trusted. She exploited that. This is not your fault. I chose her over you. When you tried to warn me, when you said something felt wrong, I chose her. He's crying now, really crying. I let her make me doubt you, my own mother. You were trying to be a good husband. There's no shame in that. We sit together in the wreckage of his illusions, and I hold my son while he grieves for the marriage that never really existed. Outside, the afternoon sun slants through the windows of the house where I raised him, where Richard and I built our life, where we taught him to trust and love and believe in people, and where he's learning, too late, that sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who hurt us the worst. Marcus stays at my house that night. He doesn't ask, just goes upstairs to his old bedroom like he did after Richard died. I hear him moving around up there for hours, pacing, probably crying. Around midnight, I bring him tea and find him sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at his phone. She's been texting me, he says without looking up, asking where I am, asking if everything's okay with you. What are you telling her? Nothing yet. I keep typing responses and deleting them. What am I supposed to say? Hey, honey, just found out you're a criminal who married me for my mother's money? His laugh is bitter. There's no good way to phrase that. I sit down next to him. You don't have to say anything tonight. Catherine advised against confronting her until the authorities are ready to move anyway. Catherine, your criminal attorney. He sets the phone down. This is really happening. There's going to be arrests, trials, FBI raids. My wife is going to prison. Yes. And our marriage, everything I thought we had, it was all fake. I'm so sorry, Marcus. He finally looks at me, and his eyes are red and exhausted. Were you ever going to tell me? If the technician hadn't found those messages, would you have just let me stay married to her? Kept pretending? The question catches me off guard. I don't know. I suspected something was wrong for a while, but I couldn't prove it. And when I tried to voice concerns, you chose her side. You accused me of being controlling. Because that's what she told me you were. He rubs his face. God, she was so good at it. Every time you and I got close, she'd plant these little seeds. Your mom is still treating you like a child. She can't accept that you're a married man now. She's trying to come between us. And I believed her because I wanted to be a good husband. I wanted to prove I could have my own family, my own life. You were being manipulated by someone who's very skilled at manipulation, This isn't your fault. It feels like my fault. I'm a lawyer, Mom. I deal with fraud cases. I should have seen the signs. Love makes us blind. That's not weakness, it's human. We sit in silence for a while. Then Marcus asks the question I've been dreading. Did you ever actually like her? Or did you always know? I consider lying, but he deserves honesty. I never liked her. From the first dinner, something felt off. Too polished, too perfect. But I convinced myself I was being paranoid, that I was turning into the stereotypical, horrible mother-in-law. So I ignored my instincts and welcomed her into our family. Your instincts were right. Yes, and I should have trusted them sooner. Maybe if I had... Don't. He cuts me off. Don't blame yourself for not stopping her earlier. She's the criminal here, not you, not me, her. The clarity in his voice surprises me. Somewhere in the past few hours, shock has started transforming into anger. That's healthy, I think. Anger is better than denial. What happens now? He asks. Tomorrow, James continues his investigation. Catherine prepares the formal charges. The FBI plans their operation, and you decide how you want to handle this. What do you mean? Do you want to go back to the apartment? Do you want to see her? Do you want to try to maintain normalcy until the arrest, or do you want to separate now? This is your marriage, Marcus. Your choice. He thinks about this for a long time. If I go back and act normal, I'm protecting the investigation, right? Making sure she doesn't destroy evidence or run? Potentially, but it also means lying to her every day until the FBI shows up. That's not easy. Nothing about this is easy. He stands and walks to the window, looking out at the dark yard. I think I need to go back. If I suddenly disappear, she'll know something's wrong. She'll start covering her tracks. And if there's any chance of recovering your money, any chance of justice, I can't mess that up with my feelings. That's very brave. It's not brave, it's rage. He turns back to me. I'm going to go back to that apartment, and I'm going to sleep next to her, and I'm going to pretend everything is fine. And the whole time, I'll be thinking about how she used me, how she used us, how she was planning to destroy you and make me think you were losing your mind. His voice cracks. She was going to make me commit you, Mom, put you in a home or something. I read that in the planning document. Phase 4, if necessary, suggest V's cognitive decline to M. I know. She was going to take you away from me, the only parent I have left. The tears start again, but this time they're angry tears. I will never forgive her for that, never. I go to him and pull him into a hug, then use that anger, channel it, go back, play the role, and help us nail her to the wall. Can you do that? Yes. His voice is muffled against my shoulder. Yes, I can do that. The next morning, Marcus leaves early. I watch him drive away and immediately call Catherine. He knows everything. He's going back to maintain appearances until you're ready to move. How's he handling it? Better than I expected. Angry, hurt, but functional. He wants to help. Good, because I have news. The FBI wants to move faster than anticipated. They're concerned about the Markham connection. He's got a history of running when investigations heat up. They want to execute warrants this Friday. That's 5 days. My stomach drops. This Friday? But that's so soon. It has to be. They're coordinating arrests in multiple locations simultaneously. Celeste at the apartment, Markham at his place in Brooklyn, and they want to secure all devices and financial records before anything can be destroyed. Mrs. Ashford, this is good news. The sooner she's in custody, the sooner this is over. Marcus just went back there. He's going to have to pretend for 5 days. I'll brief him myself. He needs to understand exactly what to expect, what to do when the agents arrive, how to stay safe. Catherine pauses. Has he spoken to Celeste yet? Not beyond basic text last night. He's probably walking into the apartment right now. Tell him to call me as soon as he can. Today, if possible. I need to prep him. After we hang up, I sit at my kitchen table with my coffee and try to imagine what Marcus is dealing with right now. Walking into his home, facing his wife, knowing what she's done but having to pretend he doesn't. Having to kiss her good morning, ask about her day, act like their marriage is real. My phone buzzes. Text from Marcus. I'm here. She made breakfast. This is going to be the longest 5 days of my life. I text back. You're stronger than you know. Call Catherine today. I love you. Love you too, Mom. Thank you for telling me the truth. I put the phone down and stare out the window at the gardens Richard planted years ago. The roses are still blooming despite the November chill. He always said they were tougher than they looked, those roses. That people underestimated delicate things. I think about Celeste, probably sitting across from Marcus right now, believing she's still in control, believing her plan is still working, believing she's gotten away with it. She has no idea that in 5 days, her entire world collapses. And I have no idea whether, when the dust settles, I'll have a son who forgives me for being the one to bring that collapse down on his head. But I know this. Doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels like tearing your own heart out. Sometimes protecting the people you love means hurting them first. And sometimes the only way through is forward, no matter how much it costs. Friday is coming. The truth is coming. Justice is coming. And there's no stopping it now. Friday arrives like a storm I've been watching build on the horizon for days. I barely sleep Thursday night, checking my phone every hour for updates from Catherine or Marcus. At 5:47 a.m., Catherine texts, FBI moving at 7. Stay by your phone. I make coffee with shaking hands. The house feels oppressively quiet. At 6:30, Marcus texts, she's still sleeping. I'm in the living room. God, Mom, I don't know if I can do this. I call him immediately, keeping my voice low even though I'm alone. You can do this. You've done it for 5 days, a few more hours. What if she runs? What if something goes wrong? The FBI knows what they're doing. They've been watching her movements all week. She's not going anywhere. Okay. His breath is shaky. Okay, I should go. She might wake up. I love you. Love you too. At 7:03, my phone rings. Catherine. They're going in now. Multiple teams, simultaneous execution. I'm with the lead agent. They're at the apartment building. And Marcus? He knows to stay calm, identify himself as cooperative, and let them do their job. He'll be fine, Vivian. I hear voices in the background, static, movement. My entire body is tense, waiting. They're at the door, Catherine says. Then, muffled, FBI, open up! The next few minutes are chaos transmitted through a phone line, pounding, shouting. A woman's voice, Celeste's voice, screaming, "What the hell is going on?" Marcus saying something I can't make out. More shouting, official voices declaring warrants and rights. Then Catherine comes back on clearly. They have her. She's in custody. Markham was arrested simultaneously at his location in Brooklyn. Both are being transported now. I sit down heavily at my kitchen table. It's over. This part is over. Now comes the prosecution. But yes, the immediate threat is neutralized. She pauses. Marcus wants to talk to you. Hang on. A few seconds later, my son's voice comes through, strained and exhausted. Mom! I'm here. Are you okay? I don't know. There were 8 agents, maybe more. They came in with guns drawn. Celeste was screaming, cursing at them, cursing at me. She figured it out pretty quick that I knew. The things she said. He trails off. What did she say? That I was a pathetic mama's boy. That I was too stupid to see what was right in front of me. That you poisoned me against her because you're a bitter old woman who can't stand to be alone. His voice breaks. She said I deserved to lose you. That it would have been better if you'd just died instead of Dad. The cruelty of it takes my breath away. Marcus, she's saying anything she can to hurt you. Don't listen. I'm trying not to, but Mom, the mask came off completely. The woman I married, she never existed. What I just saw, that was the real her. And she's a monster. I know, sweetheart. I'm so sorry you had to see that. The agents want to interview me. Catherine says I should cooperate fully. Tell them everything I know about her activities, her schedule, anything that might be relevant. Do it. Help them build the case. Okay, I'll call you later. I needed to hear your voice. I'm here. I'm always here. After we hang up, I sit in the silence of my kitchen and let the reality sink in. It's done. Celeste is in custody. The nightmare is beginning to end. My phone buzzes again. James, the investigator. Mrs. Ashford, thought you'd want to know, when they searched the apartment, they found significant evidence. Backup phones, documents, lists of other potential targets. This wasn't just about you. Celeste and Markham were running a larger operation. You may not be their only victim. How many others? Too early to say, but the FBI is opening a broader investigation. Your case might end up being the one that breaks open a whole network. Good. I hope they catch everyone involved. The next several hours pass in a blur of phone calls and updates. Catherine calls to say Celeste is being arraigned, denied bail due to flight risk. The evidence is overwhelming, and the prosecutor is pushing for maximum charges. Markham is also denied bail, his probation violation alone enough to keep him locked up. At 2:00 p.m., Catherine asks if I want to attend a meeting at the FBI field office. They want to interview me directly, go through my testimony, prepare for the prosecution. I drive into Manhattan and spend 3 hours in a sterile conference room, walking 2 agents and a prosecutor through every detail. They show me evidence they've collected. Celeste's backup phone has conversations with 3 other women, all discussing similar schemes targeting elderly family members. Bank records showing money moving through complicated webs of shell accounts. Photos Celeste took of not just my documents, but Marcus's as well. She was planning to pivot to your son next, the prosecutor explains. Once she'd extracted what she could from you, she was going to convince him to make large investments in fake business ventures that she and Markham controlled. We found the paperwork already drafted. She was setting up to take him for at least another $1 million. The audacity of it is staggering. How long has she been doing this? We're still piecing that together, but based on the evidence, at least 6 years, possibly longer. She's been moving around, targeting different people, using different names sometimes. Celeste Duval might not even be her real name. What? We're running fingerprints and working with other jurisdictions, but the woman your son married has been very careful about her real identity. She's a professional. I feel sick. Does Marcus know this? Not yet. We'll need to inform him as the investigation progresses. But Mrs. Ashford, I want you to understand something. Your decision to come forward, to prosecute, you didn't just save yourself. You potentially saved dozens of other victims. This woman was going to keep doing this until someone stopped her. You stopped her. The words should feel empowering. Instead, I just feel tired. When I get home that evening, Marcus is sitting on my front porch. He stands when he sees my car, and I can see he's been crying again. I didn't want to go back to the apartment, he says. The FBI is still processing it as a crime scene anyway. Can I stay here tonight? You can stay as long as you need. We go inside, and I make dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta and salad. We eat mostly in silence. When we're finished, Marcus finally speaks. I talked to a divorce attorney today. Catherine recommended someone. He says with the criminal charges, I can get an annulment based on fraud. The marriage will be legally erased, like it never happened. Is that what you want? I want it to never have happened. But erasing the paperwork doesn't erase the memories. Doesn't erase the fact that I was married to someone for 3 years and didn't know who she really was. He pushes food around his plate. How do I trust anyone again after this? The same way I did after your father died, one day at a time. With help, with therapy, with patience for yourself. Did you ever date anyone after Dad? The question surprises me. No, I thought about it a few times. Helen tried to set me up with her husband's colleague, but I never felt ready. Were you lonely? Sometimes. But loneliness felt safer than the risk of being hurt again. I reach across the table and take his hand. Don't let what Celeste did make you afraid of real connection, Marcus. Real love exists. Your father and I had it for 33 years. What you had with Celeste wasn't love. It was exploitation masquerading as love. There's a difference. How do I tell the difference next time? What if I make the same mistake? You won't, because now you know what the red flags look like. Now you know to trust your instincts, to ask questions, to not ignore the small things that feel off. Celeste taught you a brutal lesson, but you learned it. That has value, even though it hurts. He nods slowly. The FBI said they might need me to testify at trial. I'll have to sit in a courtroom and talk about how she deceived me, how I didn't see it. You'll be testifying about being a victim of a sophisticated criminal operation. There's no shame in that. It doesn't feel that way. I know, but it's true nonetheless. We clean up dinner together, falling into a familiar rhythm from when he lived here after Richard died. It feels like we've come full circle. My son back in this house, both of us healing from trauma, trying to figure out how to move forward. Around 9 o'clock, there's a knock at the door. I open it to find Derek Hoffman standing on my porch, looking uncertain. Mr. Hoffman, Derek, what are you doing here? I hope this isn't inappropriate. I got your address from the FBI. I was interviewed today about how I discovered the evidence. I just wanted to check on you. Make sure you were okay. I invite him in. Marcus is in the living room, and I introduce them. You're the technician who found everything, Marcus says, standing to shake Derek's hand. I should thank you. If you hadn't caught this, who knows how much worse it could have gotten. I'm just glad I could help. My sister wasn't as lucky. Derek looks at me. The FBI told me that because of your case, they're reopening investigations into several similar schemes. They think they can connect Celeste to at least 4 other victims. My sister Claire might finally get justice, too. I'm glad, I say. No one should go through what we went through and have the perpetrator walk free. Derek nods. I also wanted to tell you, and this might sound strange, but what you did took courage. A lot of people in your position would have stayed quiet, would have been too embarrassed to report it, or too afraid of family fallout. You fought back. That matters. After Derek leaves, Marcus looks at me with something new in his expression. He's right, you know. You could have just absorbed the loss, pretended you didn't know, maintained peace, but you didn't. I couldn't. Once I knew the truth, I couldn't unknow it, and I couldn't let her keep stealing from us, financially or emotionally. I'm proud of you, Mom. His voice is thick with emotion. I know I didn't act like it when you first told me. I accused you of ruining my marriage, of being controlling, of not trusting Celeste. But you were protecting our family. You were being brave even though you knew I might hate you for it. I never wanted you to hate me. I don't. I don't think I ever really did. Even in that first moment, I was just shattered, and it was easier to be angry at you than to accept the truth about her. He wipes his eyes, but I see it now. What you did was love. Painful, difficult, complicated love. But love nonetheless. We hug, and I feel something settle in my chest. The fear that I'd lost my son, that he'd never forgive me for destroying his marriage, it wasn't baseless, but it also wasn't permanent. We're finding our way back to each other. Over the next week, pieces continue to fall into place. The FBI confirms that Celeste's real name is Celeste Marie Russo, and she has a juvenile record that was sealed but is now being unsealed due to the adult charges. She was involved in credit card fraud at 16, served probation, and apparently learned enough from that experience to refine her methods. Vincent Markham flips immediately, agreeing to testify against Celeste in exchange for a reduced sentence. His information leads to 3 more arrests, people who were part of the network, helping to identify targets and launder money. Gregory Whitmore, the man Celeste dated before Marcus, files his own civil suit. 2 other victims are identified and come forward. The prosecution's case becomes ironclad. Catherine calls me on a Wednesday morning 3 weeks after the arrest. Celeste's attorney just contacted us. She wants to make a deal. She's offering to plead guilty to all charges in exchange for a recommendation of 15 years instead of the maximum 25. What do you think I should do? That's not my decision. The prosecutor wants your input. A trial would be long, expensive, and emotionally draining for you and Marcus. A plea deal means certain conviction and prison time, but less time than if she went to trial and lost. I think about sitting in a courtroom for weeks, listening to lawyers dissect my life. I think about Marcus having to testify, having to relive his humiliation publicly. I want her to take the deal, I say. I want this over. I want to know she's in prison and we can start rebuilding without this hanging over us. I'll communicate that to the prosecutor. 2 days later, Celeste takes the plea. 15 years in federal prison, full restitution ordered for all victims, and permanent criminal record. She'll be 54 years old when she's released, if she serves the full sentence. Catherine arranges for me to be present at the sentencing hearing. Marcus decides not to come. He said goodbye to that chapter of his life and doesn't need to see her again. But I need to be there. I need to see justice served. The hearing is brief. Celeste stands before the judge in an orange jumpsuit, her hair pulled back, looking nothing like the polished woman who married my son. The judge reads the charges, confirms her plea, and pronounces sentence. Ms. Russo, you have engaged in a systematic pattern of fraud and exploitation that targeted vulnerable individuals and family members who trusted you. Your actions caused significant financial and emotional harm. The court sentences you to 15 years in federal custody, followed by 5 years of supervised release. You are ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $347,000 to the victims identified in this case. Celeste doesn't react, just stands there, blank-faced, while the bailiffs prepare to take her away. But then, just before she's let out, she turns and looks directly at me. Our eyes meet across the courtroom, and for just a second, I see something flicker in her expression. Not remorse, not apology, but something closer to respect. An acknowledgement that I beat her at her own game. Then she's gone, and it's over. 6 months after Celeste's sentencing, life has found a new rhythm. Not the same rhythm as before. That life is gone, and trying to recreate it would be pointless. But we've built something different, something that feels more honest. Marcus moved back into his apartment 3 months ago. It took him that long to be able to walk through those rooms without seeing her everywhere. The FBI had released the apartment after completing their evidence collection, and Marcus hired a company to do what he called a complete purge. New furniture, new paint, new everything. He wanted no trace of her left. It's still weird sometimes, he tells me over dinner at my house. We do this every Wednesday now, a standing date that neither of us would dream of missing. I'll be making coffee and have this flash of memory, her standing at that counter, laughing at something. And then I have to remind myself that the woman in that memory never really existed. Does it hurt less now? Yes and no. The acute pain is gone. I don't wake up every morning feeling like I've been hit by a truck anymore. But there's this grief, I guess, for the life I thought I had, for the person I thought she was. He takes a bite of the pot roast I made, Richard's recipe, the one that brings comfort. My therapist says that's normal, that I'm mourning a loss even though what I lost wasn't real. Your therapist is right. How are you doing? Really? I consider the question carefully. I'm good. Better than I expected to be, honestly. I thought I'd feel more traumatized, maybe? More violated by what she did. And I was, initially. But mostly now, I just feel relieved that it's over. You got most of your money back, right? About $89,000 between insurance recoveries and asset seizures. The rest is gone. She and Markham spent it on rent for fake offices, expensive hotels, travel, living the life they thought they deserved. I shrug. I can absorb that loss. It's not ideal, but I'm still comfortable. Marcus sets down his fork. Mom, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Okay. Do you ever regret telling me? If you could go back, knowing how much pain it caused me, would you have just handled it quietly without involving me? The question catches me off guard, but I answer immediately. No. Never. Marcus, if I'd handled it without telling you, you'd still be married to her. She'd still be in your life, still manipulating you, still planning to steal more. The pain you experienced, it was the price of freedom, and I'd pay that price again, in a heartbeat. He nods slowly. I think I would too. It's just, sometimes I wonder what my life would look like if she'd never come into it. You'd be someone who'd never learned to see through charming facades. You'd be more naive, probably, more vulnerable to the next person who tried to use you. That's a depressing way to look at it. It's a realistic way to look at it. We learn from our wounds, sweetheart. That's how we survive. After Marcus leaves, I sit in Richard's study, my study now, I've finally started calling it, and go through some paperwork Lawrence sent over. Financial reports, investment updates, the usual business of managing wealth. My phone rings. It's Derek Hoffman. Mrs. Ashford, I hope I'm not calling too late? Not at all. How are you, Derek? I'm good. I wanted to let you know, my sister Claire just got word that the man who defrauded her is being prosecuted. The FBI connected him to the network that Celeste was part of. She's going to get restitution. After 2 years of thinking she'd never see justice, it's actually happening. Derek, that's wonderful. It's because of you, because you came forward, because you let them investigate, the whole network unraveled. Claire wanted me to tell you thank you. She said she's been too emotional to call you herself, but she wants you to know that what you did mattered. Not just for you, but for all of us. After we hang up, I feel something warm settle in my chest. Purpose, maybe, or validation. The knowledge that the nightmare I went through resulted in something larger than my own recovery. The next morning, I drive into Manhattan for lunch with Catherine. She's become something of a friend over these months. Our professional relationship evolved into something more personal. We meet at a bistro near her office, and she's already there when I arrive, reading through documents on her tablet. Vivienne, you look good. Rested. I've been sleeping better. No more nightmares about Celeste showing up at my door. I sit down and order an iced tea. How are things with you? Busy. The Celeste case opened doors. I've been contacted by 3 other families who've experienced similar fraud. Apparently, word got around that I successfully prosecuted a family fraud case, and now everyone wants my help. That's good for business. It is, but it's also exhausting. These cases are so emotionally charged. The victims aren't just losing money, they're losing trust in people they loved. She closes her tablet and looks at me directly. How do you do it? How did you come out of this so intact? Who says I'm intact? Compared to other victims I've worked with, you are. You're functioning, thriving even. Most people are destroyed by this kind of betrayal. I think about her question while the waiter takes our orders. I think it helped that I never fully trusted her. I always had that nagging feeling something was wrong. So when the evidence confirmed my instincts, it wasn't a complete shock. And I had Marcus. Once he got past the initial denial, he was supportive. I wasn't alone in it. Not everyone has that. Some victims are completely isolated, disbelieved by their families. Then I'm lucky. Luckier than I probably realized. I pause. Catherine, Can I ask you something? Do you think Celeste will serve the full 15 years? Probably not. Federal prisoners typically serve about 85% of their sentence with good behavior, so she'll likely be out in 12 or 13 years. Why? I've been thinking about what happens when she gets out. Will she come after me again? Will she try to get revenge? She'll be on supervised release for 5 years after prison. Any contact with victims would violate her parole and send her back. And honestly, Vivian, by the time she gets out, she'll be in her mid-40s, with a felony record, and you'll be in your 70s. I don't think you'll be on her radar. Unless she holds a grudge. If she does, we deal with it then. But don't let fear of a future threat rob you of peace now. You've earned the right to move forward. That evening, I'm in my garden when my neighbor Helen comes over with a bottle of wine. I heard through the grapevine that the case is finally settled, she says, settling into one of my patio chairs. I wanted to check on you, see how you're holding up. Helen is one of the few people outside my immediate circle who knows what happened. I told her about 3 months ago, during a particularly low moment when I needed to talk to someone who wasn't directly involved. I'm doing well. Surprisingly well, actually. Good. You deserve to be well, Vivian. What that woman did to you and Marcus, it's unconscionable. She pours us each a glass. Have you thought about dating? Getting back out there? The question makes me laugh. Helen, I'm 57 years old and just came out of a family fraud nightmare. Dating is not on my priority list. Why not? You're beautiful, successful, available. There are plenty of men who'd be lucky to have you. Maybe. But I'm not sure I'm interested. I've built a good life. I have my son, my friends, my investments. I have peace. Why complicate that? Because life isn't meant to be lived alone. I'm not alone. I'm just not partnered. There's a difference. Helen gives me a knowing look, but drops the subject. We drink our wine and watch the sunset over my garden, and I feel content in a way I haven't in years. Later that night, as I'm getting ready for bed, I find myself standing in front of Richard's photo in our bedroom. I haven't taken it down, probably should, but I can't quite bring myself to. He's been gone 4 years, and the acute grief has faded to a gentle melancholy. You would have hated all this, I tell the photo. The drama, the FBI, the courtrooms. You always said I attracted chaos. But as I say it, I realize that's not quite true. I didn't attract chaos. I confronted it when it came for me. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Not that I should have avoided Celeste, or seen through her sooner, or protected Marcus better. But that when the crisis came, I didn't fold. I fought. I think about the woman I was when Richard died. Broken, grieving, clinging to Marcus because he was all I had left. That woman would have probably let Celeste get away with it, would have absorbed the loss, stayed quiet, done anything to avoid conflict. But somewhere between Richard's death and Celeste's arrest, I found steel in myself I'd forgotten was there. The same steel that built a business in a hostile industry. The same steel that survived loss and came out stronger. Marcus texts me before I fall asleep. Thanks for dinner, Mom. Love you. Really grateful for you. I text back, love you too, always. And as I drift off, I realize that this hard-won peace, this reconstructed relationship with my son, this knowledge that I protected what mattered, this is what victory looks like. Not perfect, not painless, but real. Celeste took money, time, and peace of mind. But she didn't take what really mattered. She didn't destroy my family. She didn't break my son. She didn't defeat me. If anything, she reminded me of something I'd almost forgotten. I'm Vivian Ashford. I built empires. I survived loss. I protected my family, and I'm still standing.